I'd say that Charles Leclerc is the best driver on the grid without a title. Ferrari has brought the handsome Monegasque to where he is now, but has also hampered him in his career quite a bit. Fred Vasseur says that the upgrade package Scuderia Ferrari is bringing to the Miami Grand Prix is a package and a half. Will that be enough to beat the Mercedes dominance, and will it give Charles Leclerc a shot at the title? I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Charles Leclerc made his debut in F1 in 2018 with Sauber and was promoted to the Ferrari team in 2019. In all those years with the Scuderia, he scored 8 wins, which is not a lot for a driver as good as he is. In 2019, Ferrari had to change their engine because of the fuel flow scandal. Therefore, there was a few years where the team wasn't capable of winning races. In the years that it was possible, Charles Leclerc always managed a bunch of pole positions and wins. In 2022, he fought a title fight with Max Verstappen in his Red Bull, but a mid-season TD changed the order a bit and they weren't competitive anymore. In the following years, Ferrari was there or thereabouts when it came to fighting for wins. But McLaren and Mercedes stepping up in 2025 meant that Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc as their drivers failed to score a single win. What stands out about the lack of wins Leclerc has is that the team and their strategy have cost him at least a dozen good opportunities to win races. His total number should have been way higher. From calling him in and then telling him to stay out in Monaco, to plenty of other mind-boggling decisions that cost Leclerc dearly. The Italian team has always been known for chaos, and so far nobody has been able to change that. The team from Maranello is rooted in Maranello. Therefore, it's hard to get the talent that teams in England have. Time and again, solid people in F1 have been asked to join Ferrari, for good money as well, but most of the time people decline because of the culture being so different there. Leclerc fits really well in this culture. He gets his message across without making too much noise and insulting the proud team culture. This is why I think Max Verstappen would never last in Italy. He's too straightforward and rude to survive there. Still, Charles is suffering the consequences of the Italian team's failures every single season. The team with the best history in Formula 1 always promises the most, and most of the time they underdeliver. The worst part is that every time it's looking up for Ferrari, I get on board the hype train and I get excited. I mean, it's time for Ferrari to make the days they had with Michael Schumacher happen again. They owe it to the Tifosi. So, what are they promising for the Miami Grand Prix then? Drivers Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton finished 3rd and 4th in Australia, with their finishing order reversed in China, which isn't too bad, to be honest. The Japanese Grand Prix, however, was a bit more difficult, as McLaren's problems seemed to be solved, making the gap a lot smaller. Leclerc crossed the line in 3rd place, while Hamilton finished 6th. Ferrari currently has the strongest car on the grid through the corners, yet it suffers from a noticeable power deficit compared to the superior Mercedes engines, powering both McLaren and the works Mercedes team. Their engine and battery deployment are lacking a bit. Both Hamilton and Leclerc, who have spoken optimistically about their 2026 cars, have urged Ferrari to fix the power shortage. The team has been working intensely behind the scenes to close the gap. At a filming day in Monza, they rocked up with a load of upgrades that should make them leapfrog Mercedes. Well, that's the intention anyway. The race is reporting that Ferrari had to scrap their original upgrade plan because of the cancelled races. They were originally going to bring upgrades little by little, but now they're rushing things. It looks like they'll bring all the upgrades at once for the Miami Grand Prix. The big change is the new floor, which should give the car more downforce. Ferrari hopes this will help to close the gap to McLaren and Mercedes on the straights, where their engine power is weaker. They're also bringing back that wild Macarena rear wing. It moves and rotates when the drivers use active aero, and it's expected to be worth around 0.3 of a second at some tracks. Ferrari tried the wing during a practice in China, but team boss Fred Vasseur said they still need to do more running on it before they are fully confident it can last a full race distance. There are still reliability questions still to be answered, as well as rear stability under braking. I've heard it reported that the team will assess the part's impact at Monza before deciding whether to put it on the car for Miami or for the subsequent race in Montreal. And then there's the whole A-Duo thing, where manufacturers with weaker engines get to upgrade their engines this season and the next. The team with the slowest engine can bring 2 upgrades this season and 2 the next season. I don't want to get into that too much, as the details of how FIA will test these engines are secret. And for all we know, only Honda and Audi get to upgrade their engine. The upgrades that I just mentioned and the fact that Mercedes is barely bringing anything point in the direction that Ferrari will be a lot better from Miami onwards if the upgrades do their job. Which is always a big if. I don't want to go back too far in time as this video is about Charles Leclerc, therefore I'll only talk about Ferrari's upgrade history from the last few seasons. In 2022, we had brand new regulations, and even though the Ferrari car porpoised quite a bit, it was fast and it looked good for Charles Leclerc for a while. Then came reliability issues, and above all, Ferrari struggled to maintain the car's performance after the introduction of the TD39 technical directive, which altered the ride height and harmed their pace compared to the Red Bull. So that season was down the drain. They also sacked Mattia Binotto, so behind the scenes things were shaky as well. In 2023 the car suffered from all kinds of issues. It had high tire degradation because the car was often too harsh on its tires, leading to a slower, inconsistent race pace. It had a lack of aerodynamic stability because the SF23 lacked a stable platform with a narrow operating window, making it difficult for drivers to maintain confidence in all conditions. They had reliability problems again. Electrical faults caused immediate component changes and grid penalties for Charles Leclerc in the early races. And wind sensitivity played a part as the car was unstable in windy conditions, causing unpredictable performance. In 2024 Leclerc finally won in Monaco, and they brought a whole new floor to the Spanish Grand Prix. This upgrade brought the bouncing back, and they couldn't find a solution, so after a few months they reverted back to an old spec. As you can tell, I'm a little skeptical about Ferrari's upgrades. Let's see what happened in 2025. Well, okay, in 2025 the car was just really difficult to set up, and with all the teams having fully developed cars after years of ground effect regs, the margins were very small. They opted to focus on 2026 very early in the season. Maybe that's why they have the best chassis now. So, for Charles Leclerc to have a real go at the title, Ferrari really needs these upgrades to work. They can't afford any of the nonsense they had in the last 4 seasons. It looks like Ferrari, under the leadership of Vasseur, is pretty stable. They have a very good lineup, and who knows, they might get it done this time. To be honest here, I would really prefer to see Ferrari winning than Mercedes. I'd be 1,000 times happier with a Leclerc title than a George Russell title. I'm pretty sure you agree with me. Let me know if you do or don't. Subscribe. Take care now. Doei doei.